Ranjit, let's go to the next place. And okay, so there are different automation tools available in market. You might have heard of certain tools out of these: Telerik, Test Studio, and it's Visual Studio. And you know, Visual Studio is a product of Microsoft. Microsoft never gives anything for free. They will ask for money when you want some support from that. So it is something which is going to be very much paid later on. Robotium is there, Test Complete, Waitar, Visual Studio, Test Professional. QTP is very much popular, but it's run by HP and it involves a license fee. So all these things are available. We'll specifically focus on Selenium with the help of Java code. Okay, and why we're doing, we are basically focusing on Selenium, and why we're focusing on Java, that will come into picture just after some slides. Now, what is a framework? What is this Selenium framework? Because we are going to concentrate on Selenium framework mostly, we need to understand what this framework is. So, if I talk about framework is something which is like a set of utilities or a set of toolkits, which is going to help you develop something better out of it. Okay. So, say for example, if you have lots of wood and scrap materials, and if you want to prepare, if you want to make something out of it, you can make anything, right? You can create a bed, you can create a table out of the same wood, but there are certain tools which are needed, and using that tool you can create either a bed or a sofa or a table, whatever. But the tool is very much important over here. Similarly, we have the browser, we have our software, our application which can be run on the browser, right? And Selenium is having certain toolkits which is going to help us. Using those tools, we are going to write certain scripts which can automate our application. Say for example, there is a functionality called click on a button. Okay, so maybe you are on module 1, or maybe you are in module 2, or maybe you are in software 1, or you may be in software 2. Whatever software you are using, every software will have a functionality which will need a button to be clicked, which will need a submit button or a refresh button to be clicked, or a logout link to be clicked. So that click is an operation, and that toolkit, how to click over there, that is available with the Selenium framework. So we are going to call that click operation so that we can perform some operation, right? We can perform a functionality. So these toolkits are available. These all like typing some value into a text box, okay, reading some value out of HTML page or some sort of paragraphs. So Selenium has certain toolkits for doing certain operations. Okay, so it has a lots of API. These tools are nothing but APIs. Okay, API stands for Application Program Interface. So basically, we're talking to somebody, we're interacting with somebody, so we need an interface. We're interacting with the browser, with the software, so we need an interface, so we need certain toolkits which is given by Selenium. So Selenium provides a lot of tools to develop the scripts for automating our websites that we have understood. Testing function specific to testing the web applications. Now the Selenium is basically designed to test the web application. You cannot test a software, you cannot test Microsoft Word like application. Okay, but you can test the Gmail application, you can test the Facebook application because they are on the web pages. And Selenium is very much focused on the web applications only. Okay. Now a variety of APIs to locate the elements. Now what is this? There are three things which we do. Basically, when we want to automate something, first of all we need to understand what the manual work is. Then only we can write certain code so that that manual work can be done by software. So when we want to do something, when we want to test something on the browser, we first find out where that element is, where that button is located, so that I'll go there and I'll click on that button. When I go to Gmail page, I used to have a lot of things over there. Somewhere it is saying forget your password, somewhere it is saying create a new user, somewhere it is saying login as a different user. Okay, so there is a place where I need to enter my username. Okay, so I'm not going to do anything else, I'm directly going to that place. That is one element in the entire HTML page. That is one element. So finding that UI element is very much important. So Selenium has some APIs, like very rich set of APIs which I can use to find that element, to locate that element. We call them UI locators. Once I have found that element, what I need to do, I need to enter my username. Okay, so that is called typing. So type in some value or send some keys. So Selenium is having a toolkit again. Selenium is having certain utilities or API or toolkit, whatever you can say, to write something into the web page, right? So the UI, finding the UI element is done. Performing the action, I have written something, that is also done. Now again, another action is clicking on a button or clicking on a location somewhere. So I have found the UI element, I have entered some value. Then I'm going to find the UI element of the button, where that button is located. I'm going to click on that. So that clicking on the button is again another action. So I have performed another action. Now the page has changed. The software, when I'm testing the login functionality, I have taken two inputs, the valid username and valid password, and I'm expecting the user should be logged in and user should be in the inbox page, so that there will be certain emails displayed. Okay. So when I enter the username and password and I clicked on the button, I should be on the page where I can see my email. So I should check if I am on the inbox page or not. So I have given the valid username and password and I have clicked on submit. Now I am displayed a page. So I'm going to check if that page is perfect page or not. So I'm going to check the result or assert the result. Assertion is basically comparing some actual value with some expected value. Okay, like in calculator, after performing the addition operation, the output which is displayed on the screen, that is the actual value. But before performing the operation, when I have taken the inputs like 5 and 3, I am going to add, and I'm going to get 8. That is the expectation. I should get 8. So that 8 expected value is checked with the actual value that is displayed on calculator. So this operation is called assertion. Okay, so Selenium is going to help us with locating, performing action and checking the values. There is a generic set of APIs for manipulating all the browsers. Just one second. Generic set of APIs for manipulating all, as I have said you already that we need to write only one script, and if it runs on a single browser, it will be run on all the browsers. So Selenium, the APIs that Selenium has created, say for example, enter some text. Okay, that is some functionality Selenium is handling for us. It has given us a tool. When we take that tool, when we take that generic API, we can say it generic only if that tool works across all the browsers. If I say click on the button and it is working on Google Chrome, and when I say the same click operation on Firefox, it should do the same operation. If it doesn't do that, we're not going to tell it a generic API. Understood? So Selenium has all the APIs which are very much generic. So whatever operation they provide us, they're going to be run across all the browsers similarly. This is what the Selenium framework is all about. Okay. If you have any doubt, you can always come. You can always ask me. Okay, going to the next slide, it is saying the features of Selenium. We have already discussed about cross-browser testing, so it is going to help us to test the same set of scripts across all the browsers. Language flexibility, if you have any experience in any of these languages, you can start learning Selenium. Okay, you can use Java to learn the Selenium and do the automation. You can go ahead with PHP, C#, Python, anything is open. Selenium has the flexibility for that. But we'll focus on Java. Why Java and why Selenium? It's again a very big question. We'll come to that. Now the configuration can be done using code. So for example, if somebody is saying just take these two values and do this operation, if you do it manually, it's done and we have got the result, either it has passed or failed. Now he says that if the value is this and if the day is the first day of the week, then do this operation. If it is the leap year, then do this operation. If it is midnight, then I should get good night message at the end of the chat. So all these operations are based on certain conditions. Okay, so that is what we call configuration, right? So with the help of Java or any type of coding language that you are taking with Selenium, you can configure according to the situation, according to the business logic. You can write a code which will be working differently across different scenarios. We can configure it as per our business logic. Now parallel execution is something, parallel as in if you have a browser which is running a test case, at the same time you have another browser running another test case. So say if you are taking the example of manual effort that we put, if somebody says you test these 10 test cases, on 3 different browsers. So say for example on a single browser you are going to take 30 minutes, then for testing these 10 test cases on 3 different browsers you are going to take around 90 or 100 minutes, say for example 2 hours, right? But with this help of Selenium it's going to take only 30 minutes, because Selenium is going to open up 3 different browsers, Firefox, Chrome and IE, and it is going to test all the test cases at the same time. So that is what we call parallel execution. With the help of Selenium Grid, it is achieved. We'll learn that. Faster test execution. Of course, if you do things parallelly, it will be faster. Okay, you don't need to wait till 90 minutes. Your manager won't be waiting till 90 minutes to get the result, like how much test cases have passed or failed. You can do that with the help of Selenium Grid very fast. Then the failure clarity, using screenshots and videos. So I have not written that. So when there is nobody present, you have written the code, and that is opening up the browser, testing your software and maintaining the result in a Excel file or something. But at the same time, if a test case fails, you are not there, you don't know where the test case has failed. What Selenium is going to do, it is going to generate a log, like what has failed in the application. And while executing the test case, this UI, this element was not visible, or this button was not present. Okay, maybe the developer has committed some code, the application has broken. So it will take a screenshot at that point of time. So when you come back, when you look at the result of your test case, it will show you that these are the test cases which have failed, and this is the reason. Maybe this is the log and this is the screenshot, or you can have a video. It will start recording the video when you are doing the test automation. When the scripts are running, it will have a video of that. So next day when you come back, when you see that these are the test cases which have failed, you can directly go to the video and you can find exactly where the failure has occurred. So you'll get a clarity of the failure. You can do a load testing. It's not a proper load testing, but yes, you can do for certain small scale applications. So for example, if you want to test 10 simultaneous logins to your application, 10 users are concurrently logging into your application, what you can do, you can have a Selenium script written, and you're going to tell to Selenium that run my test case on 10 or 5 different browsers with 10 different user accounts at the same time. So Selenium will do that. So it will put a load on your application. Your application is how the application is working in this load scenario with such a huge load, or 10 or 20 different loads, how it is going to happen. That can be done with the help of Selenium as well. Okay, it will help in asserting the actual and expected. I have already discussed about actual and expected. Selenium will help you with asserting or comparing with the actual value that is the software is giving, and the expected value that the tester has expected. So we can do that comparison with the help of Selenium. And reporting of test results, say for example 100 test cases have executed on day 1, okay, and out of them 70% have passed, 30% have failed. On the next day when you executed, the developer has fixed certain issues, or certain issues have been resolved, the cases have been resolved. Now the test case, the result is saying that out of 100 we are passing 70%, 30% is failure. So the build health of a product is like the health of a person, which is to have a good health. Similarly, the product or the software should have a good health. So we'll have the reports which says on day 1 20% test cases have passed, day 2 50% have passed. So the health is getting better and better. So you will have a reporting tool which will tell you what is the health of your product. Okay, so all these features are available in Selenium. So if you have anything in mind, say for example, if you think that can Selenium do this, can we do this thing with the help of Selenium and Java? So if you have any type of doubt, any type of questions, let's discuss on that before moving to the next slide.
Hello, Arya.
Yeah, yes.
Selenium will generate itself the reports, or it has some extra, like add something
Right,
like
right, right.
third party.
Yes, perfect. The question is perfect. See, Selenium is a tool. If I'll go back to the slide, Selenium specifically focus on the browser-based automation. So whatever operation you are going to perform on the browser, that is going to be done by Selenium. But we are learning Selenium with the help of Java, right? So there are certain libraries which are available, okay, which you can plug into Selenium. They will work parallelly with Selenium so that they will generate the reports. like TestNG is there, right? JUnit is there.
Yeah.
They will generate the reports. There are even different other tools available which can generate the reports. But just remember, Selenium is helping them. Selenium is going to say them that this thing has failed. Then only that tool is going to tell, okay, this test case has failed. If Selenium says everything is working fine, you will not get anything. So there is a help from Selenium as well as a help from the third-party tool. With the help of Java code, you are going to get the reports.
Okay, that's what.
Okay. Any other doubt you have? Like Bablu, you have any doubt?
I will have a lot of doubts.
Okay. Today is a demo class. Today is a demo class. When we start, then we'll have all the doubts getting clear.
Lots of doubts.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other doubt, Devasis bhai? If you have any doubt,
No, I'm good.
yeah, good, great. And so let's move to the next slide, which is the components, different components of Selenium. So I'll say when we are talking about any software, it used to have a lot of components, right? It used to have a lot of modules. So Selenium, as it is focused on automating your manual efforts, it's going to reduce your manual efforts. It's going to give you some sort of environment where you can automate your test cases. So it used to have certain different components for solving the challenges we face at different areas. Okay, so if you have a specific challenge, if you have a specific problem, like your resource is being utilized a lot of time, that you're doing the same operation again and again, so that is a challenge which we need to remove. Selenium is going to help you in that place. If you are using a browser and you quickly want to record everything, like whatever operation you are doing, first of all you're going to log in and doing all these things, you don't have the time to write the code, you just want to record the thing. If you have found a bug and if you have written the steps to reproduce the bug, you're going to tell the developer, boss, these are the things which have failed. The developer is going to come back to you and ask, boss, what has happened, how it has failed. So before doing that, you are writing the steps, like go with this approach and you're going to get the error. So if you want to create a recording of that, how to create the error, how to create that bug, how to reproduce that bug, you are having a problem over there. You want that to be automated. So Selenium has a component for that. Now, if you want to run the test cases or run the scripts automatically on a remote system, because when you're writing, when you're doing some sort of work on your laptop, if the browser automatically opens up, you won't be able to work, right? So that is going to create some problem. So you want your test cases to be run on a different system. Like we used to have servers, they're run behind the firewall, they're running on a data center. Similarly, you can have different browsers, different operating systems on a remote system. Okay, and you want all the systems to work parallelly, to share their effort, to share their availability, so that you can have 1,000 number of test cases run parallelly and executed very quickly. You are going to use Selenium Grid for that. Okay, then Selenium RC is something which is deprecated, as in which is not used anymore, because RC had certain problem. This RC is very much similar with Selenium WebDriver. Okay, this WebDriver and RC are very similar. RC used to have certain things for which we need to write the code. Now the RC's API, they were not that much generic. We used to have certain problem with RC APIs, Selenium Remote Control APIs. Now Selenium WebDriver has come into picture, those problems are resolved. And it is very easy to write the code with the help of Selenium WebDriver. So we are no more using Selenium Remote Control. Selenium IDE is a tool which is a Firefox plugin. If you look at this is a Firefox plugin. So whatever action you perform on the browser, if you have the Selenium IDE open and you have the recording, this is the recording button. If you have the recording button on, so it will basically imitate everything, it will record everything. So when you scale this Selenium IDE, when you click on this button, play button, it will start performing these operations what you have done. So you can use this tool to record the bug reproduction like steps. You can do this. Okay, this is a component of Selenium, but the problems are it is only available for Firefox. It's a Firefox plugin. For Chrome and IE, you don't have Selenium IDE support. IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. So with the help of this IDE, you are developing a bug reproduction steps. This is the Selenium IDE. It's a browser add-on. It has the recording operation, functionality, creating test case, maintaining the test suite, and all these things. It follows a language which is called Selenium, which is very poor language. It doesn't have all the functionalities. You can learn it very quickly. The syntaxes are easy and meaningful to understand. Okay, and it has very limited functionalities as I said you. So Selenium IDE has very limited scope. So Selenium IDE is the first component. Second component is Selenium WebDriver. This is the place where we used to write the Java code. Okay, the Java code is written and that is executed with the help of Selenium WebDriver. Okay, so we'll learn how Selenium WebDriver works. So if you go to the next slide, okay, this is remote control. This is the Selenium WebDriver. It has a direct access to the browser. Whatever code you write, it's taken directly and run on the browser. If you look at this UI, you'll see the code that you have written in Java, .NET and Python, and you have written for Selenium code, Selenium commands you have written. You pass that on directly to the browser. The browser will execute that. But the problem with RC was, this is the WebDriver. Before WebDriver, you used to have Selenium remote control. If you look at Selenium remote control, we used to have an RC server. So this server runs in the background. It takes the command, Selenium command, RC commands from the user, converts and compiles them, connects to a browser and executes them on the browser. So there is just this step was making things slower. So now what has happened with Selenium WebDriver, they have removed that step. You can see the browser has direct access. It is directly controlled by the code that you have written. So that is Selenium WebDriver. We are going to write certain code with the help of Selenium framework in Java language so that we can access the Selenium WebDriver and the browser directly. It is a faster way of executing the commands. So if you look at the RC, you used to have a lot of problem connecting to the browser, and it used to have a lot of problems with the APIs as well. The software was not that much like rich software. It was not that much good software. So Selenium WebDriver came into picture, and they have they have a set of generic APIs, generic commands with which you can communicate with the browser. So that WebDriver is now used. We have three different versions of WebDriver. Version 1, version 2, now version 3 is in the market. So we'll learn how different like commands are executed, how we can communicate with the browser when we start learning Selenium. And major browsers compliant, as I already told you, Selenium is supported by all the browsers. So Selenium code is written in such a manner, you don't have to worry about all the browsers. You just have to worry about a single browser. They're going to be executed by other browsers. Even mobile browsers. Selenium have started writing developing the API so that you can test the mobile applications, not the complete application. You can test the mobile browser application. Okay. More control over process using code. Yeah. And reporting and unit testing APIs can be integrated. Like Ranjit, the question that you have asked, can Selenium generate the reports? No, Selenium cannot generate the reports. Selenium has given you the framework, the API, with the help of Selenium WebDriver tool. Okay. When you take this WebDriver, and if you want to generate the reports, at that point of time, you can integrate the unit testing APIs with Selenium, and you will get the reporting thing done. Okay. If you want to perform certain more operation, if you want to have more control on the browser, okay, if you want to record the video, Selenium won't record it for you. You can have a third party tool which can start recording when a test case is starting. So that API can be integrated with Selenium WebDriver so that it will record the video and save into a specific location. Okay, if you want to shut down the computer after the test cases are executed, so that also you can do, but it should have a communication, it should have an integration, it should be able to understand the Selenium WebDriver. So there are different APIs available. So you can use any of these APIs and you can have more and more control over the process. Okay. So any doubt in the Selenium WebDriver part, because this is what we are going to use. Ranjit, I think you have a lot of questions.
Yeah, I have question later when I
Okay, okay. So you don't want others to get help from your questions and answers?
No, I want, but I'll ask.
Okay,
Later
great.
I'll ask in the group.
Okay, fine, fine, fine. We'll go to that. So Selenium WebDriver is something. So Devasis bhai, if you have anything to add, please.
No, no.
Okay, it's fine. And let's go to the next slide, that is Selenium Grid. I've already told you, when we want the test cases to be executed in a faster way, to be executed on a remote machine so that I won't be disturbed, and if I want to have a execution at the same time on different environments, different operating system and different browsers, the same test case I want to execute, I can take the help of this Selenium Grid. So it says you can remotely execute the Selenium scripts. You can parallelly execute them, and you can have a cross browser and version test. If you want to test the same feature on Firefox 21 and above, 23 and above, then you will have different Firefox browsers, 23, 24 up to 50, 55 is there, right? So all these things, all these different browsers and their specific versions also you can test with the help of Selenium Grid. Okay, and of course regression testing you can do, remotely manage the browsers and tests, and these are the operations that you can do with the help of Selenium Grid. Of course, what it is going to do is it is going to give you a faster execution time. You'll save a lot of time. So if you look at this picture, you'll basically get some idea. This is a network of different components available. This is a system which is running Internet Explorer on Windows XP. This is another system, a laptop, which is running Firefox on an Ubuntu. Ubuntu is a Linux OS. Similarly, you have a Safari browser running on a Macintosh, right? You may be having an Android browser running on a phone. So when you have all these things connected over a single Wi-Fi or single local area network, okay, single network, all these things are available. You'll have a manager of them, that is called the hub. What we are going to do is, once we have written the test cases, we are going to submit those test cases to the hub. It's the responsibility of the hub to understand from the test cases and from our requirement, it is going to understand that I need to run this test case on IE and on Firefox Ubuntu. So it will open two different browsers on these two different machines, execute them, record the video, take the screenshots, record the logs and everything, generate the report, and this hub is going to return us back the report as if we are running the same test case on our laptop, is going to be run on a different node on a remote machine. So Selenium Grid will do that for you. You'll need to have a hub, the centralized or the manager of the Selenium Grid. We need to talk to that. When we execute our test cases, we say that run on the grid, and once you have run successfully, generate and give me the reports. So that thing can be done with the help of Selenium Grid.
So here we need to configure the hub, or it's already
Perfect.
there in.
See, it's Selenium is having the component, and it will ask you for certain configurations. We'll have certain shell scripts and certain JSON files for configuration. Once we have done that and we have like run all the components in our network, then we can have a grid environment ready.
Okay.
Okay, so it's fine. I think if you have any doubt, you can always let me go back to the slide where you have the doubt. Then I can come to the benefits from the training, but if you have any doubt, I can go back. Seems okay. So let's talk about the benefits that you are going to get with the help of this training. It's a continuous learning process. As I have told you, Selenium is an open source language, right? It's an open source language. Similarly, Java is an open source language. Selenium and Java both are open source, so you'll get to know about the open source community. You'll get to know a lot of things. You'll get to know, you'll have a learning which is continuous. Every day you'll learn something. And the first question which was pending from the first slide is why we're taking Selenium and Java. Let me tell you one example. If you have some problem with your Selenium code, if you're writing a script and you've stuck somewhere, whenever you look outside, if you look at a software developer, there is a lot of chance that that guy is running, he's learning Java, he's working with Java. So the Java resources are available widely in the market. there is a greater community of Java. If you write any problem, if you ask for help for any problem on Google, you are going to get the Stack Overflow results. So you can go and check how much Java codes are asked, how much Java. The Java community is very big. So if you write the Selenium code with the help of Java code, if you are having some problem with Java, you can get a help from Java developer. But finding a PHP developer, a .NET developer, a Python developer, Python is very rare. PHP you can find to some extent. .NET is still better. But Java is the best one because you will have a lot of Java people. That is why we are taking Java. The second thing, the Selenium framework or the Selenium software that is developed by the Selenium guys, they have written that framework with the help of Java only. So tomorrow if you learn a lot of Selenium, if you want to grow and if you want to like go in depth of Selenium, if you want to make some changes, or if you have stuck somewhere, you need to make some changes in the Selenium code itself. If it comes, then if you are writing the Selenium code with PHP or .NET, if you open up the Selenium software, you're going to write, if you're going to get some Java code in that, you won't be able to understand. So why not put the time learning the Java and start learning Selenium as well, so that if you tomorrow want to understand how the Selenium code works internally, you can open up the code and you can understand easily. Right, but if you have a different language other than Java, it's going to create a problem. You're going to stuck somewhere and you will need a lot of help from people, and maybe you won't get that help, so that can be a problem. But if you learn Selenium and Java, it's going to be beneficial for you. That is one benefit. You'll always continuously learn something out of Selenium and Java. And I have been a Java developer since 5 years, and I have gathered some knowledge of Java which I can share with you all the time. So that is going to help you with Selenium. Live practical classes, like now I am sharing my screen with you. I'll be doing the code over here. You can see, you can ask me why this code is written, how this browser is opening, and what are the problems with this. So we can always interact. That will be live. Okay, we'll have this laptop and the internet facility, so we can do it. Regularly doubt clearing. Whenever we have the class at the end, we can have a doubt clearing. You can ask me questions, and if you're stuck somewhere, I can help you out in that. And we have a group of people. Now we have 5-6 people over here. So always we can talk to each other and we can find what is the problem, right? So we will have our doubts cleared. That's one thing. Offline study materials, the textual files, the questions that I have written, they're text files. Certain audio files are there which I can share with you, like the video tutorial. You can have the video and audio of this tutorial of this class. The code snippets whichever I am writing while when I'm teaching, I am writing certain code on Eclipse. Those code snippets I can share you. I can share you the text file, the programs that I have written, the questions that I'm asking, the assignments, everything, and the video that is recorded. Everything will be shared with you. That is the study materials which you can use offline. And the assignments will be competitive. You will get certain like good aspect, good way of testing the things which you have never thought of. You have never thought how to do it automatically. You'll have a different way of thinking. You'll have a competitive mind. Okay. Now you'll have open source exposure. I have already told you initially Java is very much popular in open source world. So you'll get to know a lot of things in open source market. And of course, always we want to make our CV great, look great out. So when the HR is having 10 different CVs for a testing profile, if he or she is having a CV which is having Selenium exposure, okay, which is having a CV which is having Selenium, you'll have a better exposure, okay, you'll have a better exposure and you'll stand in the crowd because you are a tester, but you have a mentality of a developer. So that will come into picture once you start learning Java and Selenium. So these are the benefits which you are going to get with this training. And if you want to have some more benefits, you can always tell me, and we'll see if we can fit that into this timeline and if we can do it. So if you can go through this again, and you can let me know if any more benefit is you are expecting, any more benefit out of it, or anything else, any doubt you have. Seems okay. So I think you are satisfied with this much benefit. Great. So let's, okay, Ranjit, tell me.
No, nothing.
It's fine, no? Okay. So go to the next slide. A snapshot of the things. These are the technical things which you will be learning. So just to give you a snapshot of all the things I have just pointed out over here. Java basic level programming. Use of Eclipse IDE, I think I think everyone has already have some experience with some of the IDEs. If you have already used Eclipse, it's great. You can do even better. Otherwise, you will get to know Eclipse. Unit testing, yeah, Ranjit have some idea of unit testing. He knows JUnit test engine and all. So you will get to know how this unit testing is done. Okay, knowledge of XML files, how the XML files are created, how they're manipulated. Okay, all these things you'll get to know. And we are going to use Jenkins. It's a build and deployment tool. Okay, you have already heard of Jenkins. I think almost all the companies they use Jenkins. So we'll get to know how the Jenkins works. Okay.
Maven is also used for build tool.
Yeah, Maven is a build tool, but to schedule the build at particular intervals. Say for example, you want to schedule every night at 12 o'clock. So that thing is not possible with the help of Maven. So Jenkins is a tool which is going to take the building facility from Maven, and it has its own scheduling capability. So it will schedule at night 12 o'clock. Okay, it will have the functionality to generate the mails that the build has been completed and that has been deployed on this production server. So all these things which are possible with Jenkins, we'll discuss that. Okay, checking out the code from a repository, building them with the help of Maven, running that at a particular time, okay, deploying it on a server, generating the email, running the test cases. So all these things can be done with the help of Jenkins. So we'll try to understand how Jenkins works in this course. And there is the best part which is asked most widely to all the Selenium profiles, in all the candidates in the Selenium profile, that is, do you have any idea of development of Selenium automation framework? Have you, like, they will basically ask this question, framework development. So we'll develop a framework, a live framework from scratch, from zero code to a framework, ready-made framework. We'll do that. So you'll understand how we can think about this, how we can design it, how we can write the code, and how it can be done, how it is going to work. That we are going to do with this in this training. And Selenium Grid, as I have already told you, it will be a great fun. Once you start working with Grid, once you see 3 different laptops and 3 different rooms, they're under the same Wi-Fi, and when you run the test case, it is executed on 3 different laptops at the same time, and it's going to be very much fun. As I have already said you Devashish, I think you have asked, is it a configuration? That configuration is also very good. If you have any Linux background, so you will basically understand the configuration very, very fast. Otherwise, this is a JSON configuration. It will be okay for all of us. Okay.
Linux configuration?
Linux configuration, as I have already told you, we are basically focusing on the open source tools, right? So we may not be having a Windows OS all the time. And when we are talking about a grid environment, when we are talking about a grid of different computers in a single network, you may not be having 3 or 4 different Windows PCs. So you'll be having 3-4 Linux PCs, say for example, or you're having a single system with 3-4 different virtual machines. They're all, say for example, Linux machines. So if you want to run the grid on a Linux machine, then you need to have the idea of Linux command, certain very, very like small commands. So you'll get to know that. If you want to run the node, if you want to configure the Selenium environment, grid environment on a Linux environment, you are going to need some, you're going to learn the basics of Linux environment. And again, when we are running some Java code, if you have some Java expertise, prior expertise, if you have worked with Java, you must have known Java, we can also compile and run the code from console. So the console can be a Windows console, it can be a Linux console as well. Similarly, so you need to know certain commands of Linux as well. So these are the things, basically the snapshot of things that we are basically going to learn in this entire syllabus, entire course. These are the links from which you can get even more, because I have taken this entire, like I have made this slide and all, I have taken all these inputs from these links. And any questions? Ranjit, you can start now.
Just go back to the previous screen. Like this.
Okay, one second. Okay. Which one? This one?
Those links actually.
Okay, I'll share this slide. Don't worry. I'll share the entire slide and the video and the syllabus. I've already shared. don't need to be worried. So if you have any doubt in any of these slides, I'll go back and you can have a discussion.
Yeah, no, Java is only basics. I think it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And, then we'll go through these things.
Okay.
Better scale.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you guys can have
First
a
we'll start with the oops, no, like Java concepts.
yeah. I'll show that 1 second. Is the syllabus? 1 second. I think I have already shared the syllabus. You can open it, and this is the syllabus. The module 1 will start. Okay, that is very much very small introduction to Selenium. I think we have already covered all of those things, right? The module 1 is anyways complete now. Then we'll jump to module 3, not module 2, we'll keep that. In module 3, we'll learn how Selenium IDE works. Okay, no experience in coding and all. Okay, it will be complete in very small amount of time because nowadays even IDE is not used more in the market. In production environment, we don't use IDE, right? Then we'll learn Java, and it depends on you how fast you can understand the programming language. And I'll try my best to make you understand. So once we are done with module 2, which is going to take a lot of time, once we are done with that, then we'll start with the Selenium WebDriver. So this is the part where we are basically we're putting our Java knowledge and our manual testing knowledge into picture, and we're going to get a browser automatically doing everything for us. So this is the place where we'll learn that, module 4. Once you're done with module 4, we'll go to 5, 6 and 7. These parts are basically little advanced. In terms of Selenium, we'll learn how to create a framework with the help of Java code. We can create a framework, okay, so that framework can be used to create even more better test cases, even more better. It'll give us the flexibility to test the test cases in a better way. We'll create that framework, and we can basically these two modules 5 and 6, they'll be dealing with creating the framework. Once we are done with that, then we'll go to the grid and extra as in you'll get to know about Jenkins, you'll get to know about this some sort of SVN or some GitHub repository we'll take. We'll learn how to check out the code, how Jenkins works, and how Jenkins automatically tests our test case with the help of the same framework that we have developed in module 5 and 6. Okay, so by module 4 you'll have fair idea and you can start giving interviews. That's the point, right, Ranjit? When you'll be able to go to face the interviews. So say for example, after a month time, after a month and a half, so maximum a month and a half, you'll be ready to give the interview. Okay, so any other doubt you have?
No, from my side, no doubt.
That's great.
The
And
doubt will come. I know a lot. The doubt
no
will
doubt.
come. No,
Oops.
that is the main thing. Java.
Java, that's the main thing. Okay, and I can guarantee you that I can solve all your doubts. So don't worry about that. That will be done.